Hey everybody, Josh Sigurdson, World Alternative Media here. Welcome to another Wham News Live kind of update. We're going to go into a bunch of different stories, and I'm going to wait for some people to tune in. There's so much craziness happening in the world right now. I don't even know how to put it into one little show, but I'm going to do my best to go into a few of the things that are affecting people and affecting the world, and everything from the global economy, Joe Biden, there's lots of stuff, social justice, warriors, and all sorts of craziness. So make sure to comment in the live chat if you're watching this live. Make sure to press like if you haven't already, and let me know you're watching so I can talk to you and so we can get on with the show. But I want to make it clear for everyone watching how this is usually done. So what I usually do, and I haven't done it in a little while, is I'm going to open up a report live on the air for everyone to see. And I'm going to close it off once I'm finished, and then we're going to be cutting it out after and putting them up as separate reports. You get to watch me make all the mistakes live. It's going to be lots of fun, guys. So make sure to say hello in the live chat. We got 3 people out of 136,000 people watching. Sounds about right, YouTube. I see Adam said Digibyte. Hello, Adam, and yes, Digibyte. I'm going to check. Also, we are streaming live on flote.app. That's flote.app. So for those interested, we are going there as YouTube purges us from their platform. Obviously, on December 10th, we're expecting to meet our inevitable end on YouTube, mostly because of COPPA legislation. It might not happen on that day. It could happen a month later. It could happen a year later. But the point is, they're making their stance very clear that they're not a fan of the creators. They want to shoot themselves in the foot, and they want to destroy millions of people's livelihoods by charging people $42,000 per video if they consider it something that children technically could watch, even though this is obviously not for kids. So we are up against a brick wall there. We're going to do whatever we can, but join us on flote.app and also join us on BitChute. We could use all of the help we can get. We need to move people to these other platforms, and also we are taking pledges on Patreon and Subscribestar. We need to raise another, I think, $1,202 in monthly pledges by January 1st to avoid going under as a media. We need you guys to help out. But let's get to some news. I see some people finally tuning in. We got 30 people out of 136,000 people. Again, sounds about right. We got UI says, hey, hello to you. Chevy Gun says hello. Hello, Chevy Gun. That's an interesting name you got there. Send me your Digibyte address. I want to send you 5,000 Digibyte. I do not have Digibyte available right now, but that sounds quite tantalizing, so I will open up my STEEMIT. I do have my Digibyte address on my STEEMIT account, which I haven't been able to get into in quite some time. So I'm going to open that up. If you can scan the screen, that's the best I can do as far as QR codes right now, because I'm unable to get you the actual, like, the printed address. So let me bring this up on the screen for you, if you please. This is my Digibyte QR right there. Hopefully you can see that good enough. And you can scan that if you're interested in sending Digibyte. I really appreciate it, guys. I haven't been able to get into my STEEMIT account for quite a while because I got locked out because of a different IP address. It was like this whole crazy thing. And I've been unable to get in for, I guess, 4 months now. So that's real unfortunate. But anyway, back to my face. Let's see. We got Shinobi Wan who says, yo, what's up, brother? I like the R18 plus sticker you got in the intro picture. Haha. Yeah, I know. It's for those that missed it. Here's our thumbnail for today's video. Yeah, there's a few things going on in the news, and I'm putting the 18 plus thing there as more of as a joke than anything. But you know how it is with the new terms of service change on YouTube, which can result in our channel being taken down within the next month. Hello, Sin City Taoist. You got First National Bitcoin.com. Hey, dude. Hello to you as well. Sleepy Joe says UI. Absolutely. Now, for those that are just tuning in, I'm going to repeat it again, then we're going to get to the news. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be reporting on a video live I'm going to open it up like I would any other video, and I'm going to close it off like I would any video. That I'm not going anywhere. I'll still be here when I close off the video, so don't go anywhere. Either way, people are going to tune in the middle of the report and think I'm signing out. I'm not. You'll see. You'll understand once I get into it. You'll see when I close it off. And you get to see me make mistakes live on the air, which is my favorite part, obviously. I do want to kind of check back to Float. So I am live on Float here. Let's change the screen here, and there I am. If you're interested, you could send super chats on Float as well, which is a really important thing for us to be able to continue as a independent media going into the future. We need your help. Like I said, by January 1st, we need to raise about $1,202 in monthly pledges more. By January 1st, that we got 1 month to do that, or else Wham's going under. So anyway, Float.app is where we will be, and BitChute as well, when we leave YouTube, or YouTube leaves us, whichever you want to say. But anyway, let's get to the news. So, Adam, I put my Digibyte address on the screen earlier. I guess you missed it. I put it up on the screen in QR. I don't have the text with me right now. I just have the QR. I thought I had it in the description, but I don't. I just have Dash, Litecoin, and Bitcoin for some reason. It must have, someone must have changed it on me. I don't know. But I put it up on the screen earlier, the QR code. I'll put it up for one more time real quick while I load up the news stories. So this is the QR. I don't have the text form. I just have the QR code. But anyway, let's get to some news. So it's been hard to pick the right news to do, but obviously I think the most obvious thing that I got to do is report on this Joe Biden story. So let's, well, there's a few stories regarding Joe Biden. So let's open this up and get to it. And a 3, 2... Hey everybody, Josh Sigurdson of World Alternative Media here for a quick report on something that has been hitting a lot of headlines lately. Of course, it is the kitty sniffer himself, creepy Uncle Joe Biden. It's amazing that this guy can run on the Democratic ticket without more opposition. As this article says, Biden gaffe on stopping violence against women. We need to keep punching at it. Ugh. How you're supposed to be a smooth-talking liar. He's just like a gaffing liar. Getting into some of the news that's been hitting the headlines as of recently. This one, as it says, Joe Biden appears to nibble on wife's finger during No Malarkey Iowa campaign stop. Like, what is going on? Let's look at this video real quick here, and you guys can see for yourself. So she waves her hand around. Oh, he kind of gets out of the way, and then he bites her finger. Now, obviously, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't mean anything. It's just, I swear the guy has like syphilitic dementia or something, like Bill Clinton. It's like, who does that? Why? It's just another gaffe. It's not like it's a horrible thing. It's just another gaffe. But what I'm going to get into is really creepy, guys. And it goes back to a trend among Joe Biden and family, I should say, regarding kids that really should creep everyone out, not just his association with people like John Podesta and his, the history of him sniffing children and grabbing kids and groping women and then claiming that it's just like, a friendliness. That's what it is, whatever you want to call it. I mean, that's a great excuse. That's what George H.W. Bush claimed. But as this article says, Biden in resurfaced viral clip recounts kids petting his hairy legs and jumping on his lap. As the article goes into, just over a couple months out from the February 3rd Iowa caucuses, and Joe Biden's campaign continues to implode at an accelerated rate, and perhaps his mind too, as his officially named No Malarkey Iowa bus tour continues. It's not the Onion. That's really the campaign slogan. As it continues, it says, and now a rediscovered viral video clip of Biden rambling at a previous speaking event is so bizarre and enters a whole new level of creepy that it's put renewed spotlight on the question of crazy Uncle Joe's potential senility. It simply has to be seen to be believed. Surrounded by children, he goes on a free-flowing monologue about his hairy legs and how kids used to rub them to watch the blonde hair pop up again. What? And I quote, "The kids used to come up and rub my legs and then jump on my lap. I loved the kids jumping on my lap." Now, I can't play the video clip because these days YouTube doesn't even allow fair use and we'll just take the channel down. But as this guy on Twitter wrote, "I thought people were joking or it was doctored, but there is video of Joe Biden discussing kids petting his leg hair and sitting on his lap." Like, it's just so weird and creepy. 2020, he says. Like, it makes me uncomfortable even going into it. I shouldn't laugh because it's horrible, but like, it's just so, why is this news in 2019, 2020? What is going on? He then randomly transitions, as it says, to learning about all about roaches, but quickly gets the story back on track. And it says, "So I learned about roaches. I learned about kids jumping on my lap, and I've loved kids jumping on my lap." The men who are now all men, and they're all guys at the time, they're all good men, he nonsensically continues. It's a new to surface segment from the prior epic Corn Pop episode he recounted about his time as a lifeguard at a public school in Delaware in the 1960s. Biden's story of the unbelievable encounter with a gang leader named Corn Pop had previously surfaced and drove headlines back in September. But apparently the even weirder hairy legs and "I loved kids jumping on my lap" segment was little commented on at the time. I swear, like, it just seems whatever medication he's taking, I don't know, maybe he's not taking enough. It's just so crazy. Meanwhile, as it says, things in Iowa are now getting weird as well, per the New York Post on Saturday. She must have looked good enough to eat. Jovial Joe Biden nipped his wife Jill's finger on stage Saturday at a rally in Council Bluffs, Iowa, as she introduced him at the first stop of an 8-day, 800-mile road trip through the first Secaucus state. If that's him at the beginning of the tour, just wait till the end, guys. This is going to be some good headlines. And I quote, "Friendly reminder not to kink shame Joe Biden for sucking on his wife's fingy," one journalist, Nicole Russell, observed on Twitter. She deserves a journalism reward. Well, at least it was his own wife's finger he nibbled on and not a campaign staffer's or young supporters or random strangers. The more local campaign events Biden speaks at, the more likely it is that we're about to witness weirder and weirder behavior from the Democratic frontrunner. I completely agree. According to Bloomberg, Biden is in danger of a humiliating loss in Iowa due to a poorly organized operation, but clearly judging by the above off-the-cuff clip, that might be the least of his worries. Joe Biden risks humiliating third or fourth place finish in Iowa earlier next year. According to nearly a dozen senior Democrats in the state who attribute the prospect to what they see as poorly organized operation that has failed to engage with voters and party leaders. With fewer than 100 days until the February 3rd caucuses, Biden is failing to spend the time with small groups of voters and party officials that Iowans expect, and his campaign's outreach has been largely ineffective, according to 11 senior Democrats in the state. That could send Biden to a crippling loss behind Elizabeth Warren and Pete Buttigieg, whatever his name is, who have highly organized campaigns in Iowa, said the Democrats, most of whom requested anonymity to speak candidly about the campaign. And actions need to be taken, say Democratic insiders. I think it's fair to say if action isn't taken soon, you're going to find that a person who was 7 or 14 points behind Biden will be breathing down his neck, or actually ahead of him, said Kurt Meyer, chairman of the Mitchell County Democratic Party. There's still time because the caucuses are not on October 27th, but action needs to be taken. So I'm going to get into this a bit more. I just can't help but notice the lack of relevance these days. I mean, he thought he could run on the whole "I was vice president" thing, where he stood beside or behind Obama, gaffing constantly as Obama sweet talk lied his way into prosperity. while people claim that there weren't any scandals when there's so many scandals, spying on Americans, bombing more people than any president in history before him. But I kind of find this one funny. Farmer who ignored Biden in Iowa diner becomes conservative hero. And basically this has been going viral. It's just a picture of a guy who was watching like a football game, and Joe Biden came into this place called the Cornstalk Cafe, and this guy just didn't care. When, as it says, I asked the guy if he just wasn't a fan of Biden's, and he says, who? I said, the former VP, the man who farms in the Missouri Valley, says he's never heard of Joe Biden. The farmer then learned that Joe Biden had been vice president under Barack Obama. Are you serious? He said, oh, I'm not a fan. I'm not an Obama fan. This is Republican country. So I'm going to get back to more stuff right away, but I just want to note that, I mean, this guy he wasn't really a robot. Obviously, he still has party affiliation, which seems off the cuff, but he's not a robot, and he's not being conformed into a certain category necessarily. When he sees a vice president walk by, unlike so many people who get glassy-eyed and start bowing down and are so excited to see their religious slave master, maybe they'll give me free things. Most people think, they look at him like it's a messiah or something. It's pretty crazy. This guy just wasn't having it and just didn't care. And we need to see more of that. I don't like this robotic religious obsession with politics, left or right. It's so absurd. You see some people and their heart's fluttering and their eyes are beaming and they're like, oh my God, I'm seeing someone who wants to steal my money and rule me. It's so great. I'm so excited to have this honorable opportunity to be in the presence of a slave master who does horrible things, especially Joe Biden. Also was in favor of all the things that Obama was in favor of, all the bombings, all the taxes, all the bailouts, all of the spying, all of that kind of stuff, and also sniffs kids. So there's that. I want to get back to something else that says a lot about what kind of person Joe Biden is. Also, his son, Hunter Biden. Obviously, there's been a lot of news regarding Hunter Biden recently as the joke of an impeachment probe continues regarding Ukraine, and apparently Trump wanting information on Joe Biden and Hunter Biden corruption in the Ukraine, which is legitimate, but he could get impeached for it. It's all just politics, organized crime, guys. It's bread and circuses, really. They don't need literally bread and circuses anymore, because instead they have these crazy stories that are just an entertainment spectacle and keep people distracted, and waving flags of red or blue and Pepsi or Coke, and both are made probably by the same company. Both are bad for you, and they're basically the same thing. But Joe Biden's son, Hunter Biden, got a woman pregnant in Arkansas while dating his recently dead brother's widow. While, allegedly smoking crack and all sorts of stuff. It's like Rob Ford all over again, but not as horrible. Rob Ford wasn't as horrible, obviously. But this just concludes the fact that it's past Ronald Reagan bedtime for Bonzo has a pet monkey in a movie weirdness. It's on to, and past like Peanut Farmer Jimmy Carter, and past like Donald Trump reality show host. It's now the reality show host versus not just an evil witch who probably covered up countless murders like Hillary Clinton. It's people who are a guy like Joe Biden who's sucking on fingers. Andrew Yang, who claims that he's giving everyone money when he's basically just stealing money and redistributing it, and printing vast amounts of money, causing inflation to go up and all that kind of stuff. And it just goes against all technical reasonability and logic. But it's gotten to a point where this is nothing more than comedy. And the sad part is it's not really funny. These people want to rule you. These people want to control you. These people say they know what's best for you. These people act as though collectivism is the only way to solve the problems of collectivism. It's a perpetual paradigm, and it's evil, and it's fraud, and it's the greatest scam to ever exist. This notion that we must be dependent on the state to solve the problems that the state created in the first place. It is truly evil, and people are replacing crosses with the flag, replacing hymns with national anthems, replacing prayer with, you know, pulling their hats off and reciting the Pledge of Allegiance. Instead of going to churches, they go to government buildings. Instead of televangelists, they've got, you know, politicians saying everything you want to hear, hoping that you revere the chains around your ankles. Needs to be called out, guys. Rule yourself. Stop being a slave. Free humanity. End collectivism. Collectivism is cancer. Government is organized crime. Taxation is theft. And also, Epstein didn't kill himself. Anyway, I appreciate everyone tuning in. Until next time, this is Josh Sigurdson signing out from World Alternative Media. Find the truth. Be the change. All right, guys, I'm still here. Again, for those that are just tuning in, the purpose is to do reports live on the show, and then we cut them out after and post them as separate videos. It saves me a lot of time. I'm working on documentaries right now, and it just helps me focus on certain things a bit better. I appreciate everyone tuning in. If you haven't already, make sure to press like. We got more news to go. Let's see. We've super chats help a lot, guys. Anything helps, keeps us alive. And for those that are just tuning in, we're on float.app as well. flote.app. Here we are on float.app. And Kara Samita on Float says Josh is on fire. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Man called Clay says organized crime is about to get a bit disorganized. Yeah, well, I think that the currency reset is going to help with that, as well as, technologies. If we are the ones in charge of developing said technologies, I think that's really important. Hello, Kingsley. Let's see. Mark Anthony Rios. Hello. And anyway, for those that are interested, we are on float.app. We are also on BitChute. So make sure to check out BitChute. I appreciate everyone that subscribes on there, because YouTube is about to shut us down. We need your help with pledges on Patreon. We still need to raise another $1,202 in monthly pledges by January 1st in order to survive past January 1st into 2020. We have Patreon, we have Subscribestar, and we have GoFundMe for pledges, individual pledges. But right now we really need those pledges. Monthly pledges. That's the only thing that's going to keep Wham alive, and we will come out with t-shirts and hats and that kind of stuff soon. Anyway, getting back to the point here, float.app, flote.app is where everyone should go. Find us at Josh Sigurdson, as well as at Wham, W-A-M, and that is where we're going to be when YouTube inevitably takes us down with the new terms of service that come out on December 10th. They could take us down December 10th. By January 1st, by the middle of next year. I don't know, but I know that it's a major incremental move towards that. And if they're not, deleting us among millions of channels, they're demonetizing us completely. We've already been demonetized about 90%, so we need your help, guys. Anyway, back to business here. Shinobi Wan just sent New Zealand $3.49. Thank you very much. Selling Epstein's Guide to Staying Alive. 50% off. Yeah. I guess Dead Man Switch? I don't know. And Textra300 says hit the like button. Yes, please hit that like button, guys. I really appreciate it. It helps a lot. I'm going to refresh myself on float.app just to see. We've got 6 people watching, and I did this live the other day. On Float and on Facebook at the same time, and it was crazy because on Facebook we had 0 people watching after 25-30 minutes of the video. 0 people, not a single comment out of 10,000 people. And then we have like 1,000 people on Float, and I was getting like 10 people watching at a time, which is good. I mean, compared to everything, and there's no algorithm on Float. It's replacing Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, Tumblr, Reddit, and Patreon all in one, and there's super chats on Float as well, and you could pledge to people, and there's encrypted messaging and all that kind of stuff. Anyway, they're looking for investors if you want to step up, by the way. Some good opportunities there in my opinion. Now, I'm going to get to more stories right away here, so I'm looking at what to do next. I'm kind of just winging it all. And for those that are interested, or those curious, those just tuning in, what I do is I record the video live, the report live. I open it and then I close it. Don't go anywhere once I close it. I'll still be here. Just a heads up, because people always exit out of the show when I finish my reports. Let's see here. What can we do? CNN story. Could probably elaborate pretty good on that. I'm just thinking, I don't know what this story about Pete Davidson is yet. And yeah, okay, well, I'm just going to go with the CNN one for now. And yes, I know it's CNN, and I'm going to elaborate on it. That's the most important part. Anyway, let's see. Again, I just got to open it up, and then I'll be closing it off after. Send in those super chats, send in those questions. I'll get to as many things as I can after this report. I don't know what I'm getting into yet, so wish me luck. All right. And a 3, 2... Hey everybody, Josh Sigurdson, a World Alternative Media here, and there's some interesting news. I know out of CNN, but we're going to elaborate greatly on this because I think that this plays into a lot of the things we've been warning up for a long time. As the CNN travel article says, world first cell phone detection cameras rolled out in Australia. Now, there's a lot of concerning news out of Australia as far as a cashless society goes and technocracy goes lately, so we'll go into that in a moment. But first, as the article says, the Australian state... Sorry about that. We just got a bit of a issue there. Anyway. The Australian state of New South Wales rolled out high-definition detection cameras on Sunday designed to catch drivers using cell phones behind the wheel. Andrew Constance, New South Wales Minister for Roads, said the world-first technology would target illegal cell phone use through fixed and mobile trailer-mounted cameras. The cameras will use artificial intelligence to review images and detect illegal use of cell phones, according to Transport for NSW. Images identified as being likely to contain a driver illegally using a call phone will then be verified by authorized personnel, authorities said, noting that images captured by system would be securely stored and managed. That's always good. They're securely stored and managed securely, except for that the government has the ability to go into all of these, this data and utilize it to their advantage in the future, which can seriously put a lot of people in serious danger. I think the government is the biggest thing to be worried about here, not whether some hacker can get into it. Anyway, as it continues, it says, over the next 3 years, 45 portable cameras will be set up across the state in unknown locations and without warning signs, CNN affiliate Sky News Australia reported. For the first 3 months, drivers caught out by the technology will receive a warning letter, Transport for New South Wales said in a statement, after which offenders will face a fine of up to $344 or $457 in a school zone and penalty points on their driver's license. The NSW government is serious about reducing our state's road toll, and rolling out mobile phone detection cameras is another way we will do this, Andrew Constance, Minister for Roads, said in a statement. Officials said that a trial of the technology earlier in the year had caught more than 100,000 drivers illegally using a phone at the wheel. Some 329 people have died this year on New South Wales roads, Reuters news agency reported, compared with 354 people for all of 2018, according to official statistics. The state wants to cut the number of road fatalities by 30% by 2021, Reuters said. Making and receiving phone calls while driving is illegal in New South Wales, but using hands-free technology, other functions including using social media, video calling, photography, playing audio while driving are only legal if a driver has parked their vehicle outside of traffic. So there's more to this story than it claims. Now, wouldn't it be just great if you could just like enslave your neighbor by saying, well, if I don't, he might slip and fall on the floor. If I don't, he might burn his house down accidentally. He might, have a heart attack in his sleep. If we don't do this, these things could happen. Sure, texting and driving is stupid. I see it all the time. It drives me crazy. But that isn't why they are doing this. This has been a slow incremental frog boil for decades in Australia, and they are following the lead of China, which, by the way, has facial recognition cameras that spot people jaywalking, have everyone's face on record, Sesame credit. We'll go into that more in a moment, but someone walking across the street slightly crooked will get an SMS message on their phone that gives them a fine for, illegally crossing the road at an angle, even if there's no one around, because the camera has got their face, sent information to their phone, and publicly shamed them on a giant billboard with their face on it. And police have facial recognition goggles that can spot people, and they're unrolling the ability so that all their social credit scores go around them when people see them, so cops could just stand out there as a criminal henchman that they are and watch people walk by and go, oh, that guy's a low credit score. I don't know, maybe he said something not so nice about the government on social media. So now he's a target. We can stop and frisk him. We can check for ID. We can do that. We can check his pockets. We can make his life miserable, ruin his day. Maybe we can get him riled up enough that we can beat him and all that kind of stuff. And then kidnap him and throw him in a cage, because that's what they do. They're criminals. They're henchmen. And what they're doing in Australia, we saw what happened in Darwin. In Darwin, they were unrolling the smart grid, the smart city grid, and we're expecting to see cameras everywhere throughout Australia, capturing every moment in a vast wasteland, a beautiful, rugged land that has been for so long an individualistic place, an independent place. People are naturally individualistic in Australia more than a lot of places in the so-called first world. And what they're doing is they're utilizing places to test their technocratic super state grids in order to really start to go from there, and everything after will be easy. It's start hard, finish easy. It's like demonetizing gold in India, where gold is a very important part of culture, and utilizing a culture that loves gold in order to go cashless, because if they can do it to them, they could do it to anyone. Or it's like taking Alex Jones, the most popular independent media, off of YouTube. If they could do it to Alex Jones, they could do it to anyone. It's all a test. And with the demonetization in Australia, as far as trying to take certain notes out of circulation, they've been really pushing their cashless system. They've been really putting eyes on people's bank accounts, auditing people, not wanting people to use cash. Australia is going cashless. And let's go back to the early 1970s, 72 or 73, when Henry Kissinger met with Mao Zedong in China. Now, they formed an alliance with China, which led to the creation of the Trilateral Commission under Zbigniew Brzezinski in the late 1970s under Jimmy Carter. That blew up into a massive, massive exodus of businesses to China, which is all by plan, all by script, leading to what we have today. And on top of that, it allowed China, this massive fascio-communist dictatorship, to be able to grow their size and scope dramatically, and be able to enslave countless people, not just as child labor in factories, but also as tax slaves. So this was all planned for a long time. Now, Australia is really, really, really going in the direction of China right now. It's been really alarming, to say the least, just in the last couple years. Starting with Morrison really, really was a big part of that. So my point is that people have to be very careful, because what happens when you have a cashless society? Well, first of all, they want to bring interest rates down. Australia is bringing interest rates down, like Sweden did, and they went cashless. Australia is bringing their interest rates down dramatically and could see negative rates very, very soon, like we see it going in the direction of that in Britain, in Europe in general, in Italy, in obviously China even. They're expecting lower rates, Japan, and the United States and Canada. This is going to happen, and it's very dangerous. So what happens next? Well, there's run on the banks. The banks are all bankrupt according to their own cash-to-deposit ratios. So how do they get around that? Well, that's easy. They basically make everything cashless so that every transaction goes to the bank. So if your money's in the bank, it's not yours, it's the bank's. And if your money's always going through the banks via digital transactions, legal tender laws, usury under the social contract, it's never your money, it's always the bank's, and you are enslaved to the banking system right where they want you, so they can push you into debt. And what happens when they push you into debt? If they shove you down a bottomless pit of debt, you're forced to ask for a ladder up from the government and the banking system, pushing you into perfect servitude to them right where they want you. This is a huge part of the slave grid that is being elapsed upon, grown, built up into this massive behemoth that few realize is coming, because they're bringing tyranny down on people under the guise of convenience, things that are more convenient. Oh, well, this person's texting and driving. Well, your face is on a database that goes into your social credit system. Facebook applies to that too. Mark Zuckerberg helping China years ago with their facial recognition program and artificial intelligence. I believe that Facebook's trying to create their own sovereign governance structure. And with that, what they're going to do is they're going to have everyone's records. Instead of people having their house bugged, everyone just gives the government their information. And they're going to utilize that and political belief systems and, good and bad lists on Facebook to determine social credit scores down the line. This is why you should move to float.app, flote.app, away from these terrible social media companies that work with the government in China in order to enslave you down the line. And they're already causing people to censor their own speech, so they're not doing too bad at that, if I might add. So I am really concerned about the direction in which Australia is going. But it's not just Australia, it's the rest of the world. And as we enter a currency reset worldwide, the recession having been technical since 2008, but not official, papered over with debt, I think we are entering into a new dark ages for the economy. The everything bubble, derivatives worldwide, multi-quadrillion dollar levels, housing bubbles, pension bubbles, the shortfall reaching around $400 trillion by the year 2050, which is about 5 times the global GDP. I mean, just absolutely ridiculous. People aren't going to have their pensions. People born in 2007 set to live to 103 on average. This is going to be tragic, and it's a form of monetary terrorism, and we need to stand up now for ourselves to decentralize, to break free from this slave complex and preserve our purchasing power. Be independent. Be individualistic, self-sustainable, responsible. That is a hallmark of freedom. Don't fall for these gimmicks of convenience in order to enslave you on a farm where you go, well, you know what? At the end of the day, we got grass, green grass to eat on this little farm, on this pasture. I mean, I don't really think much about the fences because we got enough freedom. I mean, grass on the ground to eat, and all is fine until you get led off by the do-good shepherd to the slaughter with a smile on your face. We recently interviewed Naomi Brockwell. Actually, that was a couple months ago. Naomi Brockwell, who's obviously from Australia, who did a great video with us on the cashless society in Australia, which I definitely recommend everyone check out. We need to break free from this. We need to innovate. We need to compete against the state's inefficient, but currently prevalent the technocratic superstate grid that they are working on in order to enslave humanity. And it's already much of the way done. Most money is already digital, folks. It's not the digital factor that's a bad part. It's who's controlling it. It's centralized. It's going through the banking system. It's by legal tender. It's by fiat, by law, by force. And then people are charged the interest on the debt, and inflation goes up, and the fraud is just overwhelming. So anyway, we hope that you continue. We will continuously bring this stuff to you, but we hope you continuously read into this stuff and prepare yourself as best as possible. I think there's more solutions than there are problems, and that really does come down to you as a free individual sustaining yourself and being independent and not dependent on the individuals or the collectives, I should say, that are dependent on your dependents. Government is organized crime, taxation is theft, and you are a slave. If you don't break free, then forever hold your peace. Until next time, this is Josh Sigurdson signing out from World Alternative Media. Find the truth, be the change. All right, guys, on to the next. What do we got here? We got Rainy Steps sent 279 Canadian, says, hello, Josh. Hey, Rainy Steps, thank you so much for sending that. I really appreciate the super chats. Means a lot to me. Same with you, Matt Spence, who sent Canadian $1. Thank you so much. Those super chats go a long way for me here at Wham and make a huge difference. Let's see. Matt Ward from your number one fan. I wish you good fortune on other video platforms. Well, BitChute and Float, Matt Ward. Number one fan and troll. I don't know where to put you on that spectrum, man. I don't know. But anyway, for those that are interested, and I'll bring it up on the screen here. I'm going to refresh it first, then I'll bring it up on the screen. And so for those interested, I am on float.app. flote.app. I'm live streaming there currently, as well as YouTube. I gave up on Facebook because I'm just so overly shadow banned that I was reaching 0 people out of 10,000 in an hour or a half an hour. I mean, just absolutely ridiculous. Let's see. Organized crime is about to get a bit I read some of that. A man called Clay says capitalism is fixable. Communism isn't. Yeah, well, I mean, capitalism is just a flow of demand and innovation and competition. People break it into another beast that it isn't, and that would be corporatism. But absolutely, communism isn't fixable because the idea of communism is a perpetual Hegelian dialectic, problem, reaction, solution, repeat forever, where it just keeps coming in as a new solution to the problem. It's totally insane. Let's see. Finian says, this working now? Hey, refresh, fixed it. I'm tempted to leave Facebook forever. Please do. Please leave Facebook forever. It is a cesspool of censorship and corruption, and it's just absolutely terrible. This is so weird. It's just creating a mirror effect on the page here on Float. It's like it just keeps going further and further. I'm just going to get off of there because that's looking really strange now. Anyway, let me go back to my beautiful face, and we're going to get into some more news right away, guys. Press like on the video if you haven't already. I really appreciate it. And for those that are unaware, I need to point out, and this is very important, very, very important, that we need to raise another $1,202 in monthly, pledges on Patreon or Subscribestar by January 1st, or we are going under. So it is really, really appreciated. Anything you guys can do. I'm going to bring up my Patreon on the screen, and I do subscriber-only videos and stuff. From time to time, I've been working on some of it on Subscribestar at the $5 or up a month tier. I see that since the video has started, we lost we lost $18 in pledges. So let's see, 1,202. That means that we now have to raise $1,220 in monthly pledges by January 1st in order to not go under. So we need your help, guys. It's now or never. YouTube is coming down with their new terms of services, which are going to dramatically affect our ability to do videos. I mean, we won't be able to reach anyone. They've already cut us down 80% here. There's a good chance they will be deleting, if not demonetizing completely, millions of channels on YouTube. And we need you guys. Even just $1 a month, guys. We need you, we need you, we need you. It's the only way we are going to survive into 2020, because we're getting ripped and stripped of all of our abilities to reach you guys, because YouTube feels that it's better that you guys be slaves to the mainstream media propaganda indoctrination garbage that promotes pedophilia, that covers up for pedophiles, that takes marching orders from the government, CIA, the monarch. It's so crazy. And if we get taken down and people don't do anything now, you're going to be stuck with that forever. And we're going to be living in a sci-fi movie, guys. If it's not just me, it's We Are Change, Press for Truth, News to Share with Fort Fisher, Carrie Wedler, you got James Corbett, you got Sam Tripoli. We are all getting ripped apart, and we are unfortunately not seeing enough participation. The people that are helping us are amazing, and we thank you so much. You guys are heroes for saving free independent media. But meanwhile, we are unable to make enough to survive. I'm working 18 hours a day at this, and I can't bring people interviews and do documentaries for people and bring daily reports to people without those pledges. So I need to make that point clear. I need to drive that home. It's the only way. I hate doing it, but I have to. I have to do it. I have to tell people how important this is. So I do see that we got a new pledge, so I'm going to put it on private here, and I'm going to check that out. Lois G. Todd says, news? Yeah, I just finished my second report. I'm going into my next soon. I'm just doing a little breakaway to tell people what needs to happen here, because YouTube's about to take down all independent news within the next month, very likely, and definitely through the 2020 election. And we need people to participate and help out. So I'll get back to the news in a moment. But first, let's see. So we did just lose $20 in pledges, unfortunately. It's very sad because we really need that money. But I understand that not everyone can keep their pledges going forever, but it's just a level of security that's necessary. We did get $5 in pledges just now, so that's good. So we're back down to $1,215 in monthly pledges we need by January 1st. Thank you so much, Professor. I really appreciate that. You guys are awesome, and that is the change we need to see. And the change you wish to see comes from the individual, the person watching this video that cares for the future of free information online and the information that their children will receive. That's crucial. Finian says, I hate Patreon on Float. He says, I hate Patreon. They are just as bad as Facebook. I'll sub to you on Float instead. Yeah, absolutely. We got pledges on Float. We got pledges on Subscribestar as well. So anyway, I'm going to get to the latest news. And for those that are just tuning in, make sure to press like. And we just finished doing stuff on the Australian Cashless Society as well as Joe Biden's creepiness. I haven't read the next story yet, so I will be learning about it as I go. So wish for the best, hope for the best, and for those just tuning in, for those that weren't here before when I explained this, let me just get the lighting a bit better there. For those that weren't here before when I explained this, I'm going to open up the report live on video here, and then I'm going to do the report live on air. We're going to cut it out later and put it up as a separate video because I have to focus on documentaries and stuff right now, so I'm just like... I'm cutting and pasting this kind of stuff. It's just easier because editing takes up a huge amount of my time. But also, I'm going to be finishing off the report, and then I'll still be taking questions. I'll still be talking to you guys, and I'll probably still get to more news, depending on how much energy I have at that point. So don't go anywhere once I'm finished this report. I'm still going to be here. And while we're at it, guys, I'm just going to give people the option. That's our Bitcoin address there, our QR code for Bitcoin, SegWit. So if anyone's interested in tipping, we really do appreciate it. And all these links are also below the video in the description. So I really appreciate everyone. Make sure to press like and share this video. And on to the next story. So, let's see how this goes. Okay. And a 3, 2... Hey everybody, Josh Sigurdson, World Alternative Media here, and there's some news from a familiar Saturday Night Live star / comedian who has been making quite a lot of news in the past year, and mostly for reasons that have been annoying people that aren't big fans of, social justice warriors. But I'm interested in seeing what this says. As it says from Variety, it says Pete Davidson asks fans to sign $1 million NDA, non-disclosure agreement, before comedy show. Wait, what? Let's get to the story, guys. As the article here says, whatever you do, never tweet at a Pete Davidson comedy show. The Saturday Night Live cast member has recently been doling out non-disclosure agreements before each of his recent comedy shows. Most recently, fans attending Davidson's stand-up at the Sydney Goldstein Theatre were asked to sign a lengthy contract that forbade them from tweeting or Instagramming any opinions about the performance. This already reminds me, I can't remember the celebrity, I feel like it was Lady Gaga or something, or Beyonce or someone like that, who was getting every bad thing about her that was said on the internet delivered to her or taken out of her tweets by a guy. She hired a guy to delete all the bad things that was in her Twitter feed so that she would only see nice things about herself. It's not a good way to live, guys. As it continues, it says, one attendee, Stacey Young, originally discovered by Consequence of Sound, posted the alleged NDA on her Facebook. It stated, the individual shall not give any interviews, offer any opinions or critiques, or otherwise participate by any means or in any forum whatsoever, including but not limited to blogs, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, or any other social networking or other websites, whether now existing or hereafter created. You can't critique a comedian. That's crazy. And I quote, it says, I didn't want to sign it because it was basically saying that I wasn't able to comment on it or have an opinion, Young told Variety. The most you could say is no comment. After refusing to sign the NDA emailed to her from the venue, Young was given a full refund, but there was no additional information as to why this was happening. I called the box office and wondered if it was for a special, but they didn't have any information. The fine for breaking said NDA was a whopping $1 million. In the event of a breach of this agreement, individual shall pay company upon demand as liquidated damages the sum of $1 million plus any out-of-pocket expenses. Pete Davidson's like, oh, someone didn't like my terrible stand-up routine, and now I need $1 million, guys. It's to stop bullying. I guarantee you that's all it's for. It's just virtue. We need to stop bullying. As it continues, it says, I understand that comedians are protective of their material, Young added, but to not be allowed to express an opinion, whether I like it or not, is off-putting in an Orwellian thought police way. Sources confirmed to Variety that Davidson's NDA would again be handed out on Saturday prior to his show at Chicago's Vic Theater. A spokesperson for SNL star could not be reached for comment. Cell phone bans are nothing new in the world of modern-day live performances. In May, Louis C.K. banned the use of phones of his comedy shows, while Dave Chappelle and Madonna have also prohibited fans from sharing live materials without written consent. And that's all like copyright, intellectual property crap. But, I mean, it goes a lot further than that, folks. I mean, it's a fact that you aren't allowed to critique. You're not allowed to critique a performance. I mean, how full of himself or seriously mentally damaged can he possibly be when he thinks $1 million is necessary to pay reparations for someone not liking his performance, which, by the way, this tells me his performance is terrible. So you can go to the show, sign an agreement, and say, I really liked that show, and also be fined $1 million for like writing on Twitter, what a great show, or meh, people weren't really laughing. It's like, $1 million. That is such a crazy, over the top thing to do, and is theft. As this article out of Forbes says, Pete Davidson and other comics who think an NDA will work should reconsider. And it goes into how this will only come back to bite him and also make him look ridiculous. I'm not going to go into all that, but I want to hear what you guys have to say regarding this. I mean, Pete Davidson has been in the news for several years off and on for making statements and claims that are rather social justice warrior-y. And also, I mean, SNL hasn't been funny in years. They've been bringing on these people that are, like, comedians should not be worried about being offended. Comedians, the whole idea is to say things so offensive much of the time that it makes people laugh, because people laugh at the truth. People hear the truth and they connect with the truth, and so they laugh. And that is one of the great things about it. When you have to stress about getting sued for $1 million if you offend him, never mind him offending you, I mean, it's just gotten so crazy. Do you remember when Ralphie May was alive and he had to he was apologizing while crying for saying something about someone, I forget exactly what it was, or there was a comedian who was kicked off of SNL not that long ago for saying controversial, offensive things. I can't even remember it, and I bet you can't either. You know why? Because nobody cares. Nobody cares. It's just throat noises. These things don't matter. And this is a big part of what is slowly, incrementally creating a culture of dependency and stupidity and weakness. Everywhere you go, I can't help but notice this. You see ads for, fashion. You see Gap ads and stuff like that. And I couldn't help but notice this. No matter where I go in the world, I see the women have like baseball caps on sideways, and they're man spreading, legs completely open, in all the ads, and their shirts are all ripped up, and they look manly and tough, which is whatever, fine. But then you see all the men's stuff, and they have little scarves, and their legs are all together, like Justin Trudeau at a meeting, and they're clearly trying to deliver an agenda to make women men and men women, which whatever you want to do in your own life and however you want to live your life is fine. It's just when this agenda is playing out, it's a clearly anti-family, anti-woman, anti-man, anti-gender, anti-nature, kind of position to take. The government is doing this because there's obviously some kind of conspiracy here. Obviously, there's a reason for this. And all the while, people like Sarah Silverman and Chelsea Handler, who used to be super offensive, Sarah Silverman wearing blackface, Chelsea Handler like chasing a little person around on her show and like making extremely racist jokes and stuff like that. People laughed, people connected, and then comes a 2 percentile weak public that hates things that trigger them because they're so freaking weak and so privileged and sitting on their ivory throne their whole life, obviously never dealing with any hardship. They get offended by everything, and they're calling everyone else privileged. The people that are underprivileged, they're calling them privileged, while they're the privileged ones because they have so little to complain about in their life that they look for things like comedy to complain about, or even going as far as Louis C.K., which was a very controversial show where he made claims about the Parkland shooting victims and everything like that. Even in that case, Say it. Laugh if you like. Don't watch it if you don't like it. Deal with it. It's comedy. And all these SJW comedians now that are apologizing, that are coming out against other comics for being quote unquote offensive, while you look back like 5 or 10 years and they were some of the most offensive people. It's so crazy. Talk to Sam Tripoli, the comedian, about where Chelsea Handler was years ago, selling sex tapes to get famous and making racist jokes and doing like sketches with little people where she like dressed them up and everything. Like that wasn't that long ago. Everyone just looks the other way now on that, and it's like, oh well, she's such an arbiter of decency and stopping offensive. So it reminds me, actually, I got to go back here. Conservatives in the 70s were like the ones that, I'm offended by everything, very aristocratic. Now it's like the far left 2%. Again, it's like 2% of people that feel this way, but the media blows it up because they have an agenda to make people weak and make people dependent. And if people are dependent, they are on their knees to the state and banking system while they're pushing inflation up and the central banks are printing vast currency and there's more laws coming into effect. Guns are taken, self-defense is ripped away, and everyone becomes a baby, a big, giant baby who's dependent on mommy and daddy government, which they spend most of their childhood in school listening to and being indoctrinated by. This is a problem, and I'm sorry I moved from Pete Davidson to this, but I can't help but go down this path because I see that this is clearly part of the same agenda. It's just... I don't know. I'm just getting really sick of these attitudes, and most people don't feel this way, but the media is really trying to make people feel that way by indoctrinating them with ridiculous Hollywood movies, and indoctrinating them with ridiculous TV shows, with ridiculous news stories by Salon and the likes. It's just, obviously, we need to start strengthening up. I think the saying goes, hard times create strong men. Strong men create good times. Good times create weak men. Weak men create hard times. We had the good times. It created weak men, and we're currently dealing with the weak men that are creating the hard times. How many decades will go by before it changes? I don't know. But it's going to take some pretty hard times to get people back to the point where people can actually be self-sustainable. And I don't know how else to put it, guys. We need to strengthen up individuality, independence. The hallmark of freedom itself is simply just responsibility. That's all it is. And people have become more irresponsible, stupid, weak than ever. Divisive, clashing against each other, fighting over which color, red or blue, can rule over them and enslave them with a collectivist government organized crime racket. Very sad. Anyway, I will continuously go into this stuff, and I don't care if I'll get my YouTube channel taken down. Don Cherry got fired for saying "you people." I'm going to definitely be ripped off of YouTube very soon, especially with the terms of service changing right away. So find us on flote.app, flote.app, and pledge to us if you can to keep us alive past this YouTube purge with the COPPA laws and everything coming in. YouTube says, don't be edgy or swear. And it's like, okay, fine. And then they're like, but also don't say things that kids might watch. And it's like, okay, then which is it? It's just control of speech, control of the mind, control of the masses. Break free, good people. Till next time, this is Josh Sigurdson signing out from World Alternative Media. Find the truth, be the change. All right, let's see. What do we got here? Swift Bird says True News is gone. I know, they're taking down countless channels. It's absurd. It's absolutely absurd. I'm going to check Float real quick. For those interested, I am streaming as well to Float. If you haven't already, make sure to press like on this video. Helps us with the algo, whatever's left of it, as we're shadow banned. And I mean, 74 is better than a lot of our live streams lately, but 74 out of 136,000 people. Come on, guys. It's absurd. Now, obviously, we're being hidden from most people. Michaela says, thank you. Thank you very much. I appreciate you watching. Again, we're just doing reports live, and then we're cutting them out and reposting them later on. So again, let's bring up Float here. I just got a message on the Float live stream that Float, it says True News is on Float. Well, that's awesome. Glad to hear. Mark Anthony Rios says, thankfully you don't see any girly man clothing ads on big and tall sites. I guess not. Can you imagine, like, just a dress for a 7 foot tall dude? Tim Truth says, good work, Josh. Thank you very much. And to you as well. Man Called Clay says, it sounds like Paul Pelosi runs a pretty decent house of prostitution. All right. Mark R. Watson says, are these being recorded? I would like to watch after the game. It's being recorded on YouTube. Float is going to develop the opportunity to record the live stream soon, but we aren't there yet. But stay tuned for that. Also, Float is looking for investors. So if you're interested in investing in a startup of one of the, I believe, and I have full confidence, I'm putting my career on the line here for this, because I'm focusing 100% on Float as far as social media goes, and moving from all these other platforms, which I know millions are about to do. If you're interested in investing in Float, you can do that. Contact me, and we'll get that going for you. I think it's really important because it's going to take a bit of money to develop it, but I mean, at the same time, we are already seeing a huge flow of people moving to Float, and I think that really says a lot right there. I think we are going to see gamers, makeup artists, toy review things, 12 and up, obviously, moving to things like Float, and I think that's important to point out, because with all these other platforms, unfortunately, a big movement from a lot of these sites are just the people that got shadow banned and deleted in the past, which are like, the Holocaust videos, stuff like that. And it doesn't really look good on a homepage when people, the average ordinary person that's going to make these sites really reach the masses, goes to the homepage and sees that kind of stuff. And what's interesting about Float is it's open for everyone. It's open for everyone. I think that's one of the most important points to drive home, is that you're going to see people moving that are gamers, that are being taken down for YouTube arbitrarily deciding that kids could technically watch a gamer channel that's oriented to adults. They're gonna get their revenue ripped away, and they're going to be forced out of YouTube. So they're not that controversial. They're going to find their way on these sites. Same with the makeup reviews. Oh, well, it's a colorful video, so of course kids might be able to watch it. Or even myself talking about economics. Oh, kids might be able to watch it. It's so absurd. I have to put 18 plus on every video. And also, and that's not enough, they were like, yeah, but still, you didn't swear, which we demonetize you for. So technically kids could watch it. So therefore, we're going to delete your channel. This is why we need your pledges on Patreon and the subscribe star, all linked below. It's the only way we're going to survive past January 1st. But Float is going to be coming out with a monetization right on time, as all these people are kicked off of these other sites. So it takes a factor of controversy really out of it to a great degree, and it's basically as simple as it gets. No algorithm, free speech. Obviously, you can't share like horrible, horrific videos and content that would involve, children and stuff like that. But obviously, you don't want that anyway. This site is, I truly have full faith that this site is going to be the future. flote.app. I'm going to write it in the YouTube chat for you to join. And I am on Float at Josh Sigurdson as well as at Wham. I hope to see you follow. I'll follow you back. Jack Nolf, Josh, you might be okay. I'm sure kids are not watching. It doesn't matter if they, either way, YouTube is still going to determine, well, technically speaking, kids could watch this. So for that reason, we're just going to delete your channel. It's so absurd. Josh is, what? I'm seeing stuff about people trolling me. And Trexa 300. Cool to see the behind the scenes and the making of Wham. Keep up the good work, Josh. I appreciate it. Thank you. Shinobi Wan says, and Textra 300. I second that. Marvey says, do you support online betting with donations as stakes? I'm not, what? I don't know what you mean. I am not doing betting. No. And Textra 300 says, Josh, he is off to troll another channel. LOL. Shinobi. I don't know what happened. There's a lot of things that came up in the chat that I haven't seen. Super chats help, guys. It's the only way I'm actually making any money at all on YouTube these days. But anyway, for those interested, make sure to press like if you haven't already. We need to raise another. I believe we are down now to $1,215. in monthly pledges by January 1st. There's been a lot of people deleting their pledge over the last couple days, unfortunately, putting us back up. At the lowest, we were down to 1190. But no matter how many people are flowing in, there's more people flowing out right now. We need your pledges. We need to raise $1,215 in monthly pledges, whether it's each by $1 a month pledges, $5 a month pledges, $5 on Subscribestar, etc. Get to use subscriber-only content and stuff like that, including a documentary I did on JFK that was banned from all sites. They never really gave me a good reason for that, but anyway. So you can, pledge on things like Subscribestar. I believe it's up on the screen here. Yeah, Subscribestar, where we do subscriber-only content at $5 and up a month. But either way, $2 a month, $1 a month, it doesn't matter. Those things add up to help us survive as an independent media sharing free information. We need you guys more than ever. It's crucial. It appears that we just lost another pledge. Man, this is a bad day for pledges. As I'm talking about pledges, everyone's deleting their pledges. Let's see what this says here. The pledge, the previous pledge that came in was deleted from earlier on in the show. So, okay. All right. Yeah, one of those days. So we need now, again, to make $1,220 in monthly pledges by January 1st, or WHAM is going under. WHAM is gone. It's done. All you have is Fox News, CNN, ABC pedophile media, BBC pedophile media getting their marching orders from, the monarch, from the CIA, from the government. We need you guys. We need you guys. I don't know why it's so hard to drive this point home, but we're not kidding. Our media is going to be gone. Like, we're watching an end to free information online, and it seems like nobody cares, and it's really been sad because I spent years doing this. I did it for years for free, and it's just I built up a media, and I've been working 18 hours a day, and I can't even feed myself these days. Because YouTube stripped away 90%, and now it's my responsibility to create alternatives to make up for that. But while I'm in that transition of trying to make that happen for myself, because it is my responsibility, I need your help, guys. I need your help. And we haven't been getting a lot of it, unfortunately. Out of 136,000 people, surely we can get 1% of people or less to do $1 a month. So I don't know. It's frustrating, and we're doing whatever we can to make up for this. With the new terms of service coming in, it's really cracking the whip on us and making it impossible for us to function as free independent media. And I mean, we're trying to combat these major entities. I've turned down money, big money, from mainstream media. As I've been asked to host shows for mainstream media, I turn it down because I want to be able to sleep at night. I'm not doing this for money. I would make a lot more money doing that. I don't want to read someone else's script. I want to say what I believe, what I think, what I need to deliver home to people to break people free from the chains that so many unfortunately revere. And it's been increasingly more and more difficult. So, anyway. I see Shinobi Wan sent New Zealand 349, says Josh, the last real Dragonborn journalist. I appreciate that. I was really one of the last independent medias to form on YouTube to have any form of success. We were the fastest growing independent media in the world at one point, and then we just got crushed. And now I can't even get more than like 200 new subscribers a month because they're only showing 2% of our subscribers of videos and not suggesting our videos to new people. So we're not getting new subscribers. So we're stuck and we're not reaching anybody. 72% of all views come usually from suggested videos. I've been looking. Of our views, we get 1.2% these days of our views from suggested videos. What does that say? Videos that I would post when I had 10,000 subscribers on this channel, that would usually get, 70,000 views on them. Today, with 136,000 subscribers, we will get 2,000 or 3,000 views. It's really brutal, and we're getting demonetized. It's brutal. Marve says, I like to donate, especially if I can win $1,000. I can't even legally do betting. I can't do that. I can do a giveaway soon, and I'll probably do that coming up on the end of our run as they change the terms of service on December 10th. And if I disappear around December 10th, I will be on float.app, flote.app. So anyway, and if anyone's interested in investing in Float, by the way, which I believe to be the most prosperous and most likely social media network to replace the old guard systems, email me at worldalternativemedia@gmail.com. That's worldalternativemedia@gmail.com. I'll put that in the chat there. As Scott's Dimension says, do more collaborations with other channels. Yeah, I have been doing a lot with other channels. I was going to do one today, unfortunately, didn't work out. But I mean, I just did a video with Dan Dix of Press for Truth. I've been doing stuff with the Liberty Advisor. I don't know. I'm planning to go on Sam Tripoli's show in LA very shortly, and he on mine. So hopefully we can make that work. Yeah, I mean, I agree though. We definitely want to do that, but it's coming to this point where there's a good chance, there's a real chance that I only have 9 or 10 days left on YouTube. I'm not sure how fast they'll move on the new terms of service. Could be immediately, could be a month, could be a year. It's all up in the air, and at any moment my channel will get deleted. Talk about Epstein? Nope. It's not appropriate for YouTube viewers, but also don't put family-friendly content up, or else we'll fine you $42,000. Even PewDiePie's like, yeah, I think we're gonna probably end up moving. Matt Spence says, how about Greg Hunter's show? Yeah, I would love to do that with Greg Hunter. I haven't actually ever gotten a hold of him, I don't think. I think he shared one of our videos once, but I've never actually gotten a hold of him. He's one person that I've been wanting to talk to for quite some time. One of the things about doing independent media, though, is I never have an opportunity to watch other people's videos. I rarely watch other people's videos. It's almost always focusing on my own stuff, because I'm spending 17 or 18 hours a day editing, and then filming and editing and filming and writing and editing and filming all day, every day. Often I just forget to eat. I've gone a lot lately, like 2 days in a row without eating, and I totally forget, and also I can't really afford it. Anyway, so I'm gonna just another opportunity, another chance. Super chats help. GoFundMe helps as well. We got everything linked below in the description, so please help out any way you can, guys. I can't put it in any more ways. I hate begging, and I hate like asking over and over again, but I have no choice. I do see I just got a new Patreon pledge, so I'm gonna check that out here. All right, Chris, thank you very much for the $5 pledge, man. Really appreciate that. That's awesome. That puts us back down again to $1,215 in monthly pledges by January 1st. That makes a huge world of difference. You're a hero. All of you that do this kind of work, you guys are heroes. And it is work. What you guys are doing, you're committing to labor in giving me $1 to $5 to $20 a month that helps free information reach the public. And this is not just about us today. It's about our family, our friends, our children in the future, our grandchildren in the future, our great-grandkids. It really is life or death in the long term. It all escalates very fast, and we need to maneuver around that, and we need to do whatever we can to manipulate our future into a more free, prosperous, informative horizon, so that we can work towards actually educating people and making sure that people have the right information that they need to not go to countless wars, not do drafts, not to slaughter each other, not to bow down to the state, not to allow technocratic super states to rise up. The future is scary, folks. The Orwellian future is very concerning, and people are kind of just drifting into it because people have been so desensitized. But it's serious, and it's important, and we are trying to counter that, and we need you guys to help out any way you can. It's the only way that we will be able to survive and, persist in bringing people free information down the line into the future. Also on BitChute. Find us on these other avenues, guys. It's very important. I'm a little bit behind on BitChute. I've been having trouble. There's been some glitches, but we'll manage. And obviously on float.app, flote.app. Float says, post that documentary on Float. Yeah, I should post the JFK documentary on Float. Man, It's been rough. YouTube has just been deleting videos off our channel. It's just like demonetizing everything. We're making like nothing. And it's not about making money. It's just that people often won't do anything until it's too late. And it's really sad and it's very detrimental to our future. Tim True says people don't see the pattern yet, but creators can see what's on the horizon. Yeah, and that's a problem though. It's like us creators can see what's on the horizon, but most people can't. And it's going to be too late once most people figure it out. I want to be optimistic, and I am, but this kind of stuff has deterred me a bit lately, and it's kind of scary. I want to bring people solutions to problems. Anyway, so I appreciate everyone tuning in. Make sure to press like if you haven't already. And Textra 300 says Wham is not viable, says YouTube. They really mean Wham doesn't toe the line. Keep it up. Yeah, we don't cover for pedophiles and organized crime bosses and slave masters, and we don't believe in slavery and the destruction of free will and free humanity. All we're doing is bringing solutions, and solutions to the fear make the people who bring the fear fear. We don't want to be in fear. We want the slave masters to be in fear. That's the only way that we can have prosperity and freedom here on earth, is when they fear us, and hopefully enough to stand down. But also it comes down to you guys. What are you doing? How are you living free? How are you living by example? What little ways in your life are you taking certain or making certain efforts to disobey and to live free? It's a question everyone should be asking themselves. When you're laying in bed tonight, think about that. What are you doing to live free? What are certain avenues or risks that you can take to disobey that would make you more free? And think about what would happen if everyone did it. The whole system would fall. Rick Shepard says, fear the truth. Yeah. YouTube certainly does, and so does mainstream media, and it's all in one. And it's a big CIA operation. People haven't gotten that from all the way back to Operation Mockingbird. How could they not get it with Epstein today? Jimmy Savile. Very frustrating. Anyway. Let me just check something. It looks like we may have gotten yet another pledge. $5 from Chip. Thank you, Chip. That's awesome. Thank you so much. I really, truly do appreciate that. Again, you guys are the ones that are really changing the future of free humanity, free information online, and I cannot thank you enough. Thank you so much. I don't know how else to put it. It's really an honor to me. It really does hit close to home and makes me have hope for humanity when I see people like yourselves stepping up to take that small sacrifice, sometimes big sacrifice, in order to ensure the future of free information online. It truly does mean the world to me, and it's just so it makes me feel so much honor. I'm so honored to have people care enough about that to help out. And for all those that are pledging, all those that are donating, all of those that are tipping, thank you so much. You are the future of mankind, and you won't regret it. You know, I always say, don't regret things you do. You should just regret things that you don't do when you have the chance. When I'm on my deathbed, the number one thing that I'm going to be thinking of is the things that I could have done. Not that it will matter at that point, but by the way, this is my Bitcoin SegWit address, if anyone's interested in tipping. Not that it will matter at that point, but I think that is something that really destroys a person at the end of their life, is not doing things when they have the chance. And just little strides like pledging and helping for the sake of future humanity. And so you could look back one day and say, you did something that was important, that helped free not just myself, but hundreds, if not thousands, if not millions of people. It's a web. It's a reason why they say weaving spiders come not here. Anyway. Let's see. We've been going for a little while now. I see a donation here in the super chats. Let's see. I'm going to scroll up to that. Chip Fernandez says, sent $5, said, I just became Patreon. Weird you weren't in Patreon search results for World Alternative Media. I love your coverage of ancient tech. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that, man. Yeah, I know Patreon's definitely part of the system, that's for sure. We have Subscribestar too, but Patreon is just pretty efficient to reach people, and it's easy to use. So I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. And we got lots of stuff coming up on ancient technology, ancient civilizations, and all that kind of stuff. I got documentaries and full-scale reports I did in Turkey and Italy, and even one in Mauritania that I haven't put up yet. And it's been frustrating. I have to thank Fred, the person who was our donor who sent me to Turkey. Again, I'm not spending my money on this stuff. People are sending me to those places. So thank you so much to Fred. Means a lot. And Shinobi Wan says, Josh, you should make a Pledge of Allegiance, but instead make it the Pledge of Sanity. Yeah. I would just say, I am free. That's it. You don't want to get any more culty than that, do you? You don't need a Vox or Vice or Salon article calling us a cult. Anyway. Alex Rayenga says, some of us are not giving you any money because we are homeless and poor ourselves. Yeah, of course. Not if you can't, you can't. But you can press like and share. That's what I always say. Or join Float. It's free. Those things help a lot too. If you cannot give $1 a month, then there's other ways to do things in supporting free independent media and information, including just sharing and pressing like and helping the algo and joining us on these other platforms. Joseph Nyakweba says, great platform, kudos, thank you very much. And Rick Shepard says, McDonald's tonight. Yeah, right. I haven't eaten McDonald's, thankfully, since 2008, I think. Keep in mind, I was only 14 in 2008, so you'll have to forgive me for that. Voluntarism says, Antextra 300. Absolutely. It's all about voluntary interactions and the use of force versus voluntary interactions, individual demand, and also responsibility, which means that if someone's trying to take away a right, it's your responsibility to defend it, and hopefully you can grow in demand with the people in your community enough that they will stand up for you too. If you're a terrible person, then it won't. It's a free market of freedom, and it's not guaranteed. It's simply defended. Anyway. Shinobi One says, cult equals culture. Repeat over and over. I am free. I am free. I am free. Yeah, absolutely. Mr. B says, top man, Josh. Thank you, Mr. B. Appreciate you tuning in, as always. Always good to see you. I got a new pledge on Patreon, so let's get this up on here. So I was down to 12.10. So Toby, thanks for the $5 pledge, man. Really appreciate that. That's awesome. That brings us down to 1,205 in monthly pledges that we need by January 1st. Thank you so much. That's awesome. You're awesome. You're a hero, and those are the things that are keeping us up and running. So I can't thank you guys enough. These strides are seriously changing things. I know I've said it a million times. I know people are getting sick and tired of it. I understand that, but I think it needs to be said. It makes a big difference, and it's what's going to ensure a future for free information online. Anyway, let's see here. I'm going to load this up. Just trying to see if there's any breaking news here on Zero Hedge. Zero Hedge is the best for finding news, but it's mostly financial these days. So I also check out a lot of the mainstream, like CNBC, like New York Post, like Daily Express and stuff like that, and mix it up with Drudge Report and try to look into this stuff myself. I also like going on Graham Hancock's website and finding his news section. He always has really interesting stuff on the ancient world and hallucinogens and stuff like that. Very interesting. Elon Musk admits to doing zero market research whatsoever before unveiling Cybertruck. Best troll ever, guys. Seriously, check out my video on how that was obviously a troll, the Cybertruck. It's brilliant. I'm not a fan of Elon Musk as a person. I'm sure he's probably a sketchy person and he's taking big government contracts, but I have to give some credit where it's due. The guy's an epic troll, and it's hilarious. How inflation, prudence, and fundamentals are setting up gold to soar. Well, of course. The banking system going down, which has been manipulating gold heavily, especially since 2012, is definitely going to play into that or factor in. India in very deep crisis, witnessing death of demand, warns former Indian finance minister. Well, it doesn't help that you demonetize everyone, demonetized the currency largely, enslaved everyone to bank accounts, gave everyone bank accounts, even homeless people, under the virtue of virtue signaling, but then utilized it to trace everyone, track everyone, and take away the culturally most important thing to people in India, gold and jewelry. It's just, anyway, all sorts of stuff. And those ads on the side of my screen are going to get me booted off of YouTube. Well, it's going to happen in the next month to year anyway. Let's see. We got some people on the float chat, and I want to get back to that. Let's see. Let freedom ring, says Tim Truth. We will be free one day. Positive Anarchy says, hello. Hello, Positive Anarchy. How's it going? I like positivity. Positivity is good. Aaron Nakamoto says, us individuals have to keep on building. Positive Anarchy says, peace, love, and anarchy to the float community. Once again, 100% agree. Let's see. We got Aaron Nakamoto says, building freedom. Tim says, yep, Aaron. Hey, it's very small talk. This is totally small talk happening right now. Positive Anarchy did a post on Graham Hancock. Thanks for posting that in the chat there. Definitely encourage everyone to check it out then. I'm going to have to check it out myself after. I love Graham Hancock. Anyway, for those that aren't aware yet, we are on float.app, flote.app. Please find us there. Check the links below for all sorts of links, including our Subscribestar and Patreon. And we have a documentary that was banned on JFK that we put up to our $5 a month and up subscribers on Subscribestar. Message me on Patreon if you're at $5 or more a month. On there too, and I'll make sure to hook you up with that as well. Mr. B sent 10 pounds in the super chat. Thank you, Mr. B. Says top man, top info, top stream. I appreciate that, and I love your English lingo. Top man, top of the day. Is that offensive? I don't know, but I appreciate it, Mr. B, and you're always very much appreciated here. And those super chats are the only thing that makes us any money here on YouTube. So. At the end of YouTube's lifespan, it's good to get a few dollars more in before everything comes collapsing down. So again, very much appreciate it. You're all good people, and you guys are the change you wish to see in this world. So always appreciate it. And Texture 300 says ABS auto-back securities, a thing with record auto default levels. Yeah, I've been looking into it. We've been reporting on that for several years, and we warned that that was going to happen. I mean, it was obvious. And it's just the financialization of everything and the derivatives. It's just so crazy. And, we'll do another report on auto-back securities soon. Like, all these mortgage-backed securities, subprime mortgage or subprime lending. We're seeing record lineups again. It's like no one learns from history. Cup of tea, says Mr. B. Mr. B. There's like 5,000 British accents, so I'm pretty sure I'm bang on with one of them. Shinobi One says, you can always have my spare change. It is what I want to see in the world. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. You guys are awesome. Anyway, Matt Spence says, but remember, guys, it isn't QE, LOL. Yeah, well, actually, you know who did a great job explaining the not QE thing was Lior Gantz on the video I posted earlier today. If you haven't checked that out, make sure to check that out. We posted a video in the last 12 hours that everyone should check out where we interviewed Lior Gantz of Wealth Research Group, and he did excellent analogies breaking down not QE, breaking down the hundreds of billions of dollars flooding into repo markets at the hand of the Fed, especially the New York Fed, and talking about the negative interest rates coming up and how it's going to affect the global economy, as well as the age of dependence versus independence and free individuals being self-sustainable and financially stable. It goes into that thing that I was talking about earlier about how, strong men create good times create weak men weak men create hard times create strong men, strong times create good, or strong men, goes around in a circle. I mess that saying up often. But it's true. He was talking about, at a certain generation, after like 3 generations in, money seems to just be extinguished completely from rich and wealthy families, because people, failure and abuse and, dealing with stress and dealing with hopelessness is one of the greatest strategies to prevail in life. I gave up everything. I was broke. I had no money to create Wham. Now I'm broke again, but I have faith in humanity, and I have faith in my ability to get around this problem. And I think it's these failures that help bring us to the next level and make us more powerful, more able to deliver our message or deliver the life that we wish to lead. If you're not doing what you want in your life, you shouldn't do it. Even if it means that you go homeless for a while, just be responsible. You can do anything in the world that you want to do. And it sounds easier said than done. Of course it is. Everything is easier said than done. It's easier for me to say snap my fingers than to snap my fingers. Everything's easier said than done. It's not an excuse. And excuses are what aids people in a perpetual failure in circles, Hegelian dialectic for life. Anyway. And Textra 300 says, don't destroy books, destroy YouTube channels. Certainly what they are doing. Why do I have so many drinks here? This and all GMO crap. It's terrible. I do like Propel though. Propel. No, I'm just kidding. It's good to have electrolytes. I'd prefer the Pedialyte, but anyway, it's getting into this territory again where I'm just saying random stuff. Make sure to press like on this video if you haven't already. Check those links below. Join us on float.app. I really appreciate it. Shinobi One says, I heard Australia was a myth, the small rock off the coast. That's what they tell us here in Kiwi Fruit Land. Yeah. I don't know. I've never been to Australia. I haven't been down under. I really would like to go to Australia and visit a few places. It's always been one of the top places I wanted to see, but I can't. I don't have money. But yeah, definitely one of the top places I would love to go. Anyway, we're down to $1,205 in monthly pledges that we need to raise by January 1st. Thank you so much for everyone that's pledged today. Though we are behind, as we started off with 1,202 that we needed to pledge, and we lost a whole bunch of pledges. We still got, it's 1,205. I have faith. I have faith in humanity, and I have faith that we will be able to make this happen to save Wham following the change to the terms of service. So I thank you so much, everyone that's been watching. Matt Spence says I like Gatorade better. That's blasphemy, but to each their own. And anyway, I'm gonna sign off because I've been going on for a long time. I see there's still people commenting on Float. Thank you so much. Positive Anarchy says, I met you, Josh, at the Red Pill Expo in Hartford. Oh, hey, awesome. Yeah, well, obviously you didn't introduce yourself as Positive Anarchy, but, or did you? I can't remember. I do apologize. I've seriously met hundreds of thousands of people in the last couple of years, and I have a hard time. If I saw your face, I would recognize you, though. I do remember faces. I'm not great with names, but I have been following Positive Anarchy on a few different platforms now for a while, so I appreciate your work. Aaron, in all capitals, wrote, post your JFK doc on Float, LOL, please. Yeah, I will. Lots of stuff coming to Float in the near future. I believe in it. I believe in the future of Float, and I am putting my career on the line for it because I'm focusing 100% in these days where everyone's getting crushed. I'm focusing on Float. And I believe in Float, and I hope everyone joins us. It'll take 2 seconds to get an account. Just 2 seconds. I'm at Josh Sigurdson as well as at WAM, at float.app, flote.app. Make sure to find us there. Tim Truth, yeah, people can do anything they put their mind to and can visualize. Absolutely. And another reason I have complete faith in Float taking over social medias in the future. We just have to build it. And they need some investments as well right now, so make sure to if you're interested, email me at worldalternativemedia@gmail.com about that, and I'll hook you up with all the info. I think you'll like what you see. Anyway, I appreciate everyone tuning in. Until next time, check those links below. Shinobi One, thank you again for another $3.49 New Zealand. What do you think of the Red Pill MGTOW culture? Oh man, that's a long thing to get into right as I'm signing out. But I really do appreciate you pledging. I or the super chat. Personally, I just think that humans are humans, and there it definitely is a culture to make men women and women men. And I think they're playing both sides to divide people and ignore the fact that people are individuals. And while some groups generally do things and other groups generally do other things, in the end, they're distracting us from individualism and trying to place us into a from a collectivism, one kind or another, playing themselves against each other. So anyway, I think I could go into it a lot. We could talk definitely another time about that. I think there's truth to everything out there. Every movement, every culture, there's truth. There's some truth to it. But I don't know. I really just think that we should judge things at individual levels. I realize that people get really angry with the way the courts are aimed towards or against men and towards women and stuff like that. But that's a bigger issue in general than basic genders. I think it gets a lot. It's a lot larger than that. They're trying to play people against each other, and they're doing it for a reason. Anyway, again, press like if you haven't already. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. I really appreciate everyone. You guys are all awesome, and you guys keep us up and alive, and it makes a big difference. And I just want you guys to know that I appreciate it. I really do. So anyway, until next time. This is Josh Sigurdson signing out from World Alternative Media. Cue the crazy thumbnail. Find the truth. Be the change.